So you want your ex back, but you begged towards the end of the relationship, or maybe you wrote a long letter, or you said something you didn't mean, said something that was hurtful. Did you ruin your chances to ever get them back? Watch this video for the answer. So there are very, very few circumstances where you can close the book on it and say, this thing's done forever, for good, like certainly. And one of the reasons I can say that is because, number one, when people say something that's reflective of their frustration, their anger, or just their overall, feeling of being done with something, it's just how they feel in that moment based upon the actions that you've taken leading up to that moment. Suffice to say, if you're willing to put in the work to have different actions, which they have no clue in terms of if you're ever going to do that or not, because all you've shown is the opposite up to that point, okay? But if you do take different actions, you're probably going to get a different result. But one of the examples of ruining it for good, would be like, is your ex going to the authorities to put a restraining order on you? Or are they doing something that basically ensures that you never contact them again? And I'm just talking about blocking here, because people block and unblock all the time. But they're taking some drastic measure to push you away. That means you have stalked them, you have you haven't left them alone. You cannot take the focus off them. You can't put it on your own life, and they're basically doing it for you. And in a situation like that, yeah, and you already know this. You've ruined it for good if that's you. Another example might be that you have done something really, really bad to hurt that person, okay? And I'm not just talking about cheating. A lot of times people will give people that cheat on them a second chance, but let's say you've had some kind of physical abuse, or you've, hurt their kids, or you've taken something really important away from them, something like that. And sometimes even then people can, have forgiveness in their heart. But if something like that has happened, of course, your likelihood is going way, way down, right? And just about the only other situation that I can think of that ruins it for good, period, is you giving up. Because we want to take that person's word of like their lack of feelings as an example of, why we should just be done. And you know what? Sometimes you should be done. But honestly speaking, attraction is a fluid thing. It goes up and it goes down based upon, what happens. And if what's happened leading up to this point is like you have not been your best self, okay, that's a downward spike in attraction. And of course, it makes sense that a breakup would ensue if it got that bad, but can also go back up. So if you're sitting around thinking like, hey, did I ruin this for good? Chances are you probably haven't. But if you want a professional analysis of your situation, click on my profile, click this link down here, and get in touch with me, and let's have a discussion about, what's happened and where you can go from here.